in high gear, and that was it.
How hard do you run the car after you know you won? Do you test the index, or do you usually just click them?
I might have saved a tad there, but you got to go for lane choice.
That's real important in this track?
I believe it is. Looks like it is here, yeah, for sure.
Bob Kaiser and his teammate Steve Johns with their V6s will take on the V8s of David Rampy and Vinnie Barone. It's Rampy against Johns, Kaiser against Barone in the semifinals of Comp Eliminator. When we come back, we'll see the top alcohol dragsters at the Autolite Sportsman Challenge.
If you've ever struggled with a handheld trimmer, you'll love this revolutionary new kind of trimmer on wheels. Just look how easy it rolls on those two big wheels and glides in any direction on this front-mounted mobile. It's perfect for trimming around rocks, along fences, buildings, sidewalks, and in all those hard-to-reach corners. The new DR is also a mower. It cuts tall grass, waist-high weeds, even wet grass and rough areas with never-before ease. There's no steel blade to bend or dull. You'll just love what the DR Trimmer Mower can do for you and your property. A big color catalog is just $2. Call toll-free 1-800-522-5333. That's 1-800-522-5333 for your big color catalog all about the revolutionary DR Trimmer Mower.
Hi, everyone. Eli Gold hosting This Week in NASCAR this Thursday evening from the Pocono Mountains of Pennsylvania. Alan Kulwicki, the most recent winner at Pocono, joins us.
Live from Pocono, Thursday night at 11 on Prime.
Bob Fry along with Alan Reinhart back at Senair International Raceway, and this will be round number 2 of top alcohol dragster Ray Noonan against Augie Vettorino, a guy we first met in the Autolite Sportsman Challenge Series back in Columbus. Alan?
Noonan in the near side in the brightly colored car out of New Jersey, as you can see there. Not real well known throughout the country, but everybody in Division 1 knows who he is. And Augie Vettorino, the New York runner, the black car on the far side of the track. Not a whole lot of lettering on that car, Bob.
Augie says he doesn't have enough time to get the car all painted up. He spends all of his time working on the engine, trying to get this car to run better. He's got Joe Alexander, one of the top engine builders and tuners of the alcohol dragster motors. There's a great look at the power plant. And then Ray Noonan, out of Mother's Performance Shop, the New Jersey team car, will challenge Augie. Interesting, as we watch Comp Eliminator, Augie used to be one of the real strong runners in Comp from the northeastern part of the country or the Division 1 area.
A lot of alcohol drivers got their start in Comp and then made the step up into the alcohol ranks. Now we're back to the heads-up pro start as we go back into the alcohol dragsters. This should be a great race.
Complete difference externally in the appearance of the two cars. The multicolored Ray Noonan car, the very functional looking car of Augie Vettorino. Oh, and it's a red light start for Augie. So just as we start talking about what a great job he can do of driving coming out of the Comp Eliminator ranks, he fouls out on the starting line.
And Noonan a 6.16 at 219 miles an hour. That'll take him into the semifinals.
Ray really got a gift right there from Augie Vettorino. That'll bring up another one of the Canadians, Doug Doucette, as he looks to advance into semifinal round activity. And he's going to take on one of the best in the business in Mike Koski and his Oldsmobile. Alan?
Well, Ray Noonan gets out of the car and says, I guess I must have won. You didn't see Augie red light.
No, I did not. I seen him jump ahead of me. I thought I had a bad light, and I figured he must have went up in smoke or shook the tire in that left lane.
Well, you take him anywhere you can get him. You're headed for the semi.
I appreciate that one. I really thank Mothers and Kendall for helping me get here today.
You ought to thank Augie. That's who you ought to thank, right? He's the one that put you into that next round, although the 6.16 wasn't too shabby, Alan.
No, nothing wrong with that at all. It'll be interesting to see if it holds up for lane choice. As our next pair comes back to the starting line, Doug Doucette, another one of the Canadians defending his home turf on the only race run in Canada throughout the course of the season. He's out of Winnipeg, but he's got to take on a real tough Pennsylvania, the guy named Koski.
Mike Koski from just outside of Pittsburgh running a brand new top alcohol dragster Oldsmobile-powered machine. And even though this is a brand new race car, it has one thing in common with all of his other race cars.
The name on the side of the car has always intrigued me, the American Flyer. Tell us about that.
Well, that relates back to an early childhood deal that I really liked trains, and eventually I turned a hobby into a little bit of a business, and I collect toy trains. And anytime we're out of town, even like up here, I always pick up the telephone book or trying to find somebody that knows anything, and where there'd be some trains hidden, maybe some special ones, here in Canada, that we don't know about in the States. I'm always on the lookout for trains, and I think everybody just about one time had a train, so everybody's got a story to relate to.
I understand you have a pretty nice setup at home, too.
We got a pretty good size setup in the basement of the house that we built strictly for the kids to play around with. It's nice big trains, and they run well, they sound good, and look good, so the kids have a good time with them.
And obviously you're partial to the American Flyer brand?
Oh yeah, American Flyer is what I had when I was a kid, and that's what my primary collection is. I have probably one of the finest collection of American Flyer right now at this time.
Mike would like to live up to that name here in Canada. He would like to be the American Flyer, and he'd like to stop the Canadian Doug Doucette and advance into the semifinals. Mike ran a 6:11 in the opening round, but he's really had some problems keeping his car running well during the season.
Doucette strong off the starting line, but Koski in the top end derails him in the lights.
And his wife Janet and their Natalie-attired crew happy. Maybe Mike Koski finally has the handle on this Oldsmobile. 6'10", 223. Pretty good numbers here at Senair.
Definitely looking good. Watch close. The car on the far side. Doucette leaves the starting line first. Koski's at a disadvantage already. He tries to pull even at about half track. It's a pick'em. I don't think anyone has the advantage when they come past the 660-foot cones. But then the model train conductor pours the coals to it and pulls away in the top end to win by that much.
And pretty soon it'll be all aboard for the semifinals. But we got a couple more pairs to see who goes into that round number 3. Rich McPhillips, who went to the finals last year with the poverty-stricken. This is a unique automobile. It's 300 inches long. It's a lot heavier and a lot bigger engine than the other cars in the field, Alan.
Well, the alcohol categories, much like the comp eliminator categories that we talked about earlier, run on a weight per cubic inch. You'll see some motors as small as 420, 430 cubic inches, and some over 500 in the funny car ranks, and it's all in how much weight you want to carry.
Rich McPhillips really does come on strong at the top end of the race course. There he is, getting himself all psyched up. Rich went all the way to the finals here last year before getting punched out by Bill Barney. Earlier in the season on this track in a divisional event, Rich was the champion. Tony Labor, meanwhile, this season averaging a 6.11 at 225 miles per hour for every race up till this part of the season. He's going to be a very tough customer.
In the last round, though, Labor was a 10th slower, a 621 to a 610. McPhillips had the lane choice. He picked the near side of the racetrack, so Tony Labor is going to have to step it up here.
Those of you watching on the Sunshine Network, Tony Labor is your hometown guy out of Division 2. McPhillips from the northeastern part of the United States, Division 1. And oh, did Labor strap it on him on the starting line? McPhillips, yes, the big cubic inches make the difference right at the end of the quarter mile. And a 6:19, Alan, I didn't think a 6:19 would be good enough to beat Tony Labor.
I didn't think so either. The important part was that 223 miles an hour, and McPhillips needed every bit of that.
That'll bring up the next pair, including the defending champion, the Castrol GTX car, Bill Barney on the near side, and Bill Reichert out of the Division 3 Midwestern part of the country on the far lane. Alan?
For Rich McPhillips, a 6:19 will get you into the next round. Do you have a problem out there?
Yeah, it ran through the clutch pretty hard. I think the preparation they did on the starting line was probably a little bit too good for my setup, and we're going to have to get after a little bit. Really care to be over on that other side, but we're just taking one round at a time.
You heard him say it ran through the clutch. They set the clutch up to slip a little bit to keep him from smoking the tires. If the tires bite too hard, the motor runs, but the car doesn't go anywhere. I think he was a little lucky there.
Bill Reichert out of Michigan has already won one of the Winston Drag Racing Series events out in Division 3 where they got to bundle these alcohol cars. He'll take on Bill Barney, the defending champ, 2 out of the last 3 years. This is about as tough as they get. Like Mike Koski before and Bill Barney's in a dry spell, it's been the better part of a year since he has won one of these national championship events. There they go, off the starting mark, the Castrol car out in front. Yes, a car lane. Barney at the top end of the racetrack, and thumbs up from his wife Katie. 6'11", 227 miles per hour, and a good matchup there as Bill Barney marches on.
Watch closely in replay. It looked like Reichert got out of the groove off the starting line. Let's see if we can pick up what went wrong. They leave as one. Everything looks good to the 60-foot clock, and oh, as we come to this angle, look at Reichert. Well sideways. He gets the car steered back, but he's out of that racing groove, which is the stickiest part of the racetrack, and that cost him. Barney just drives away. And he found out when he got out of the car he couldn't have slowed down if he wanted to. The butterfly is wide open. He wants to make a quick check and see that there's nothing in the scoop, but the only problem there is a broken throttle return spring. If that's the worst problem Bill Barney has all weekend, he'll be pleased. First look at alcohol funny cars when we come back.
He wonders if I even notice that visual perfection produces unbelievably deep, rich, glowing color. An intense, dazzling, brilliant shine. I do. Visual perfection by Eagle One, the ultimate auto polish.
Here we go again, guys. Wow, I feel good. Yeah, this guy really gets around. He's got the auto lights. American Orient Paul, we're guaranteed. I feel good. Yeah, 2 years, no matter how far he goes. That's why we've been everywhere. Vegas. I feel good. Yeah. Daytona. I would now. LA. Wherever we're going. The Superman. Yeah. And we're not even tired. Wow.
Eagle One Wheel Care products are exclusively recommended by the world's leading wheel manufacturers.
Welcome back to Senair International Raceway, home of LeGrandnational Molson. I'm Bob Fry along with Alan Reinhardt, and we're in round number 2 of Top Alcohol Funny Car, and here comes a guy that might be as hot as the weather, Tony Bartone.
I think he's as hot as they come right now. He'll be on the far side out of his paving contractor business in Jericho, New York. He won the last Autolite Sportsman Challenge, you may remember, looking to make it 2 in a row.
He'll take on Tim Wilkerson. When last we left Tim Wilkerson, he was having a good news, bad news event down